Okay, I'm here with Gatsby Randolph, also known as Kobie Randolph, the man, the myth, the legend, the bad motherfucker. Kobie has a movie coming out. Who is Gatsby Randolph? Its Australian premiere is set for the 23rd up in Brisbane, and on the following Monday, it's headed to the Gold Coast, Sydney, and Melbourne. So, and if you want to see it in your cinemas, it's distributed through FanForce. So you're going to have to ask for it. Anyway, forgive the cliched phrasing, but who is Kobie Randolph? Where have people seen your work before?
Ask the question one more time, so I'll make sure I have a clear understanding.
Who is Kobie Randolph, and where have people seen your work anywhere before the movie?
Well, here's the funny thing. A lot of people knew me in the industry, here, particularly in Hollywood, California, and all throughout the US, but particularly in Hollywood, California, because of another business. I was in the music industry first. So I was a DJ and nightclub owner first, and I used to throw a lot of parties. And then I leveraged that business to open up a consulting company for talent and brands. And this is all on my journey of trying to pursue my dream. And then I realized that my journey was getting so crazy. I literally woke up one day and was like, I should make a movie about how I got here. And I've written a book before about similar to the same style, but it was about how I opened up a nightclub at age 21. And so even though I wasn't a traditional screenwriter, I had, wrote a book that's published before, but didn't have any traditional experience. I literally just woke up one day and said, I'm making a movie about this. And the journey sort of begun. And it's been getting great reviews here in America. I think a lot of people thought I was crazy when I said I was going to make a movie 4 years ago. But when I finally got to a place to where I could hit play and people actually saw it, people really, really were blown away. And, most of the questions came from, how did this come to be? Is this real, what I'm seeing? And, there were layered questions once people watched it. But, I think people really started to pay attention when it made the consideration list for Best Picture for the Academy. That's when people really started to say, wow, this is not an urban legend. This is something that's real and it's happening. So maybe we should pay attention.
Yeah, well, it does definitely have that so crazy it has to be true vibe to it. That band you went to LA for in the movie, do you still represent them?
Yeah, they actually did the original music for a lot of the original music for the film.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we're still partners today. Yeah.
All right, so the movie, who is try that again? Who is Gatsby Randolph? What's it all about?
Really, what it's about is it's a quintessential story of, I wouldn't even say the American dream. I think it's just a universal dream behind Hollywood, because there's one Hollywood in the world, right? And everyone knows about it. And it doesn't matter if you're an actor or a film critic or a producer or an athlete or a fashion stylist, whatever you are, if it's in arts and entertainment, you want to play at the highest stage, which is usually Hollywood, California. But no one tells you when you get here that there's these invisible boundaries and these glass ceilings that you have to figure out a way to go through. And when you get here, everyone in any of these industries is sort of put through their own rites of passage just to figure out this crazy maze, right? And then you have to ask yourself, it's sort of like, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? And the reason why I say that is because, and I stated in the film, if I come to Hollywood to make my dreams come true and all the opportunities are in certain rooms, that they won't let you in because they say you're not a somebody, like you have to be somebody to be in these rooms. How does a nobody become a somebody if he can't even get to the people where the opportunities are?
Become Gatsby Randolph, huh?
You see what I'm saying? So this was just a very ironic way I went about solving that dilemma. And, I thought, so yeah, that's what essentially what the movie's about. Day one, I get here thinking I have this huge record deal promised to me. I fall flat by the end of the day with nowhere to go. And I reinvent myself and turn into a young Black aristocrat who's going to be the man around town. And then the journey begins.
Okay, I have to ask this. Have any of the names been changed to protect the innocent?
No.
No.
No. I saw that in your review. The names haven't been changed. Only the name has been changed to protect the innocent was the guy who originally interviewed me, because this came from someone interviewing me. That's why I got the idea. Like someone who just saw my Instagram. Like a lot of people when they went to my Instagram, just who was Gatsby Randolph, just for frame of reference, if the audience wants to go see that. Yeah. A lot of people thought that because they had no third-party reference of seeing me, like they hadn't seen me on TV or they didn't know me from winning a whole bunch of Grammys. A lot of people thought that my Instagram was fake. They thought that, who is this guy? I haven't seen him before in media. And then I'm talking about the average person. I'm not talking about the person who's in the industry, but the average person, when they went to my social media, I would get in my DMs like, hey, is this are you a really good Photoshop guy? Or like, how are you making this Photoshop like that? I'm like, what Photoshop? They're like, all these pictures you Photoshop. And I'm like, no, that's real. And I'm like, I can't Photoshop footage, you know what I'm saying? And so what started to happen was I started to get hit up by like a lot of lifestyle magazines. And this one journalist was like, yo, can I do a day in the life interview with you? And I already was making a movie. So you're watching like the fourth version of this movie, the fourth cut of this movie. I was already wanting to make a movie about my journey. But once this guy wanted to interview me and we got into the interview, then that's when I realized, I was like, oh, this is the frame. It needs to be set up like this.
Okay,
and
that
then,
explains the Joffrey character.
Exactly. And so that was a real interview that I reenacted to tell the story. And so that's when I sort of got that. But he's the only one who's like, everyone else is real. The only other two people who aren't real, who are real, but names were changed and I brought in people, was my friendly friends who are the billionaires who I'm trying to close the deal with the Jay-Z thing. Yeah. I just brought in actors to reenact that part, but everything else is real. The majority of the movie that you're seeing it in real time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love the bit where you did the interview with the tour bus in the middle of the street.
Yeah, that was funny. It took to get a lot of these shots, what may not be apparent, but I think you after you watch the full movie, you was able to put it together. I say what you're seeing is true, and this was shot in real time. But what I mean by that doesn't mean that it didn't take me several attempts and I didn't, mash shots together, because if I'm shooting in real time, it's impossible to get every vantage point of some of these things happen one day a year, like the Oscars. So since the Oscars happens one day a year, it did take us 3 years to complete that full scene, but that all happened Oscar night. Yeah.
Given the air of mystery around Gatsby Randolph, what's some of the craziest things that you've heard about yourself?
Oh, wow. Now that's a good question. I've heard everything from he's an art thief and he steals art. And he's funded his exploits by stealing art and conning or selling bogus art, conning rich people to sell fake Picassos, which is ridiculous. I've heard that he's a Hollywood gigolo who, just sleeps with middle-aged actresses. I've heard, the like any type of con artist you can be, I've heard, which is I think is funny because I've never conned anyone. I've never even broken the law in the sense of in the movie, I never lied to anyone. I never even say I'm an Oscar winner. I just walk in with an Oscar. So no one ever asks me, well, what did you win for? Never do I say in the film. Or I'll show you my dailies. Never do I say, oh, I'm Barry Jenkins and I won an Oscar for this. No, the people connected the dots through their own imagination based on my truth. Now you may say, well, what's the truth? The truth is every time the red carpet opens up, I'm here. That's a fact. You can't deny that. And you're wondering, well, how does he have access at that level? So when you see me with the Oscar, you say, oh, that's why. He's a movie producer. That's why everyone knows him. But what they're, I guess, discounting is all the relationships, all the social equity that I had built in to gain the relationships, because these didn't, it was not like, okay, I only see these people at a red carpet that I crash. No, they're coming to my house. What, like, who's financing these lavish galas I'm throwing at my house that these people are at as well? So, you know, I always thought that was just very interesting how someone could look at it like, oh, he conned someone. Like, well, what is the con? Because I'm just being myself, you know? So.
Now that the movie's out, well, has been for at least a month in America, what's some of the most positive feedback that you've received from some of the people who moved in your circles or have seen the movie?
I've gotten like the most amazing feedback because the incidents in the movie take place 5 years ago. It's taken me 5 years to make the movie. So the beginning of the movie is actually 7 years ago. So it's not a matter of something that happened yesterday. Even ironically enough, it's coming out there, you know, right, you know, Oscar week, and it's may play like, oh, this happened last night. I'm sure someone's going to read this like, oh, there's a movie about what happened at the Oscars last night. It's crazy, but people are like that. But so this is a journey about how I got here. And I'm only saying that to say that the character of Gatsby, like, I'm really Gatsby in real life, meaning if you Google me, there's more Gatsby Randolph media prior to the movie coming out, just on Getty Images, than there is you can ever find about Kobie Randolph. If I go to Hollywood and I walk down the street, or if I'm in Beverly Hills Hotel, everyone greets me as Gatsby Randolph. You have, at this point, you have to really know me to even know my name is Kobie, or really do some research. So saying that to say that the character, I did that purposely. I wanted to create a character that lived on screen and in reality, who was the same person for other business ventures and other reasons, you know, on down the line. So saying that to say, during the time of me making the movie, I couldn't tell anyone because these people still thought I won an Oscar. So I couldn't tell. And I tried this with Vince Vaughn. I have a clip where I'm trying to tell Vince Vaughn that, hey, I need to tell you about my story and how I got here and everything. And I tell him sort of a little bit. He was like, oh man, you're so funny. You're a great writer. I see why you won an Oscar last week. And I'm like, I didn't win an Oscar. He's like, well, I saw you win an Oscar. But I'm like, I didn't win an Oscar. So it's like people didn't want to even believe it because they were like, it was too much to wrap their heads around. So then after that, I said, I can't tell anyone. So for the next 4 years, I'm making a movie, dumping my life savings into it that I can't tell anyone about. And then I have all these cameras with me that I can't really explain or tell anyone about. And then so when people finally saw it, to answer your question, the most positive feedback was just the dedication to get some of the shots. I edited the whole movie by myself. I edited the movie on iMovie. I had never edited anything before. I mean, I had to do with extensive research on how to build, you know, character arcs and, you know, everything. So that was the main compliments I've just received, is just the dedication, you know, and the stick-to-itiveness to finish it.
Now you said that you had a background with owning a nightclub back in Memphis.
Nashville.
Oh, sorry. You're born in Memphis, moved to
born in Memphis, and I lived in Nashville. Yeah.
What are some of those people who might not be too familiar with champagne,
Mhm.
what are your top tips for picking a good champagne?
The top tips. I like something that's not too sweet. Um, Here's the thing: an expensive champagne does not mean it's great. Just because a bottle costs $1,000 does not mean it's a great bottle of champagne. I do like to go with more prestigious companies, whether it be a Vou or Krug or Cristal, only because they've been doing this shit since the 1800s. You know what I'm saying? And so I think they figured out something right. But a bottle of Moet or Vouv at $40 to me is just as good as a bottle of vintage Cristal. So what I like to go for is just a Brut or rosé. That's what I like to go for. But I like to my key is stay away from anything sweet, too sweet. That's my sort of my takeaway.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Gatsby. That just to round things up, who is Gatsby Randolph is coming to Australian cinemas.
100%. I will be
And
there.
if you want to get it to a cinema near you, you're gonna have to go through FanForce. So everybody out there, show the movie Who is Gatsby Randolph some love and get it to a cinema near you.
And what was your? I have a question for you before we get out of here. What were your initial thoughts upon watching the film?
I found myself laughing all the way through it, and it it definitely challenged what I thought a documentary was, because you definitely have that interviews um aspect of the movie, but some of the others uh some of the other stuff sort of gave it a feel that there was like two completely different movies in one movie, which is sort
Mhm.
of changed not challenged my what challenge what I think a documentary can be. And yeah, I was just it, my thoughts as I was watching it was that it was quite unlike anything I've seen before, and that's why I gave it the a 7 out of 6. Uh,
Thank you. Appreciate that.
and I'd like to say that is the only of the 10 years I've been doing this. It's the second movie that has ever got that score.
Oh, and oh man, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Now I'm a rookie. I'm never pretend to be something or have knowledge that I don't. So when you guys score a movie, what is the sort of the scale? How does that go?
It sort of goes from, well, with me, it sort of goes from bad, don't even bother. Sort of a 3 is an average movie. Not too bad, not too good. Just something that you won't regret watching. But if you miss it at the cinema, it's no big deal. 4 or 5 is something you really want to get out and see. Um, Possibly on the bet, and 6 is something that you'd probably want to see at the cinema because you need the full experience. And a 7 is just something that is a movie that has something that I hadn't seen before, and it's just something amazing that needs to be seen.
Oh man, I'm humbled by that, brother. I'm humbled by that. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, anyway, uh thank you very much for your time.
Yes.
We've got a couple of minutes left out. So as we said, your Instagram account again is
Who is Gatsby Randolph? That's
and
WHOGATSBYRANDOLPH.
links for the FanForce screenings in Australia are going to be in the description. So everybody out there, show this movie some love because it is definitely something that you need to see.
My
Thank
man.
Thank you very much.
Man, thank you very much. And I'll see you guys soon. As soon as you lift the travel ban, we'll play a game or two up.
You can only do that on Anzac Day, actually, in this
On
country.
Anzac Day. Yeah.
All right, have a good
My
one.
man. You too.